very quickly, and then we can get rolling. We always like to give a little shout out.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Wait, where am I? It's afternoon now.
Girl.
Let me get my little background up and going. I'm glad I brushed my hair. Let's see, 1 second here.
We'll do it super snappy.
Okay,
there we go.
So, can you guys see my background?
Yep.
All right, we have got our strategic partners starting up here. We've got Freedom Mortgage, which is our Royal Crown Diamond sponsor. We've also got U.S. Bank. We've got American Pacific Mortgage. We have Evergreen Home Loans. Over here, we've got Energy Exteriors Northwest for your window needs. We've got Dwell Mortgage, PECU, Eden Home Staging. Then we have WFG Title. We have Old Republic Title, CW Title, and Fidelity Title.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to all of our strategic partners. And I will pass it back over to you guys.
Cool. Thank you, Heather. Okay, so just really quick, guys. The reason that I wanted to have Jeff come on is because he totally impressed the pants off of me with Lab Coat Agents. And if you're not subscribing to Lab Coat Agents, you severely need to be doing that, because you're doing yourself a disservice if you do not have them sending you clips and information throughout the days, the weeks, and the months, and the years. But Jeff is down in St. Louis, and he is a rock star when it comes to doing TikTok. And I know that we've been hearing about TikTok. What the hell is TikTok? Can you TikTok until you don't stop? Like, what's the deal? And I always like to look to people that are doing things on a massive high level and that are far, far better than myself, because I know nothing about TikTok until I met up with Jeff, and he has so graciously given us his time today. So I wanted to give a warm welcome to Jeff with, what's your company name?
USA Mortgage, actually. Actually, I'm the same company as Dwell Mortgage, by the way. I know Shane very well, so he's up in your market.
Right
so.
on. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Right on. So give us a little backstory on how you became so TikTok famous, and how you use it best for your business before we dive in.
Sure. And usually I will incorporate these slides into my speaking. So I speak about all kinds of things. And actually, I started to get found about 4 or 5 years ago when I started doing video at a unique level. Not a lot of people were doing video then, but I wanted to create differentiation. And I found myself attracting my business, my referral partners, which is Realtors at the time. And it has since evolved into just so much more than that, that I just realized, holy crap, I'm onto something here. I can teach this. I can give Realtors something that their brokers aren't giving them, and the business calls me. And so it's evolved now into a lot of social media. So it was Facebook, it's Instagram, it's LinkedIn, it's YouTube, now TikTok. And what happened with TikTok is, so again, I'm fast forwarding massively, but I've created so many amazing opportunities for myself. It's all parallel for Realtors, basically, because it's the same concept. You want to attract your audience. You want to attract the people that are going to do business with you. And that's exactly what I've done. And it ended up, putting me with Lab Coat Agents. So I'm probably at number 3 with Lab Coat Agents now. Just create tons of content, host their webinars, host their podcast, all kinds of stuff, which puts me on stages in front of Realtors. I don't do anything in the mortgage business anymore, actually. I don't originate anything. I just do business development. But when it came to TikTok, I have teenage daughters. And so I was lucky. I always tell people I have a competitive advantage because I have teenage daughters, because I pay attention to what they're doing. Not just because I'm paying attention to what they're doing for the sake of safety, but I pay attention to what they're doing because the youth of America are the best predictors of where social media is going. And so I pay close attention. And so I was introduced to TikTok well over a year ago. And at first didn't get it, but just played along with my kids. And then it kind of progressed. And I was like, I think this is going to be something. I started to voice it on platforms like Lab Coat Agents. A lot of people called me an idiot. And then it progressed and evolved into the first of the year. And people started to gravitate, but they still had their objections, which I'll talk about today. And then obviously COVID happened, and all of a sudden everybody started embracing it. And now it's blowing up. And there's not a whole lot of us experts. There are some, and I'm going to share with you guys who I recommend you follow today. But that's the beauty of the platform. It's in infancy, and the virality of it is unlike any other platform. In other words, if you embrace it now and you get into it before everybody jumps in a couple of years, which they will, you have the opportunity to grow a massive following. And you cannot do that unless a platform is in infancy. And so that's why I'm a big, big fan of TikTok, but I'm a big fan of social media in general. And I execute on all of them at a high level on a very consistent level. So that's a long answer to your question.
No, I think that's awesome because I always look to people that are doing stuff on a high, massive level to learn from. And I mean, if you're with Tristan and you're speaking with Eric and all of those guys, I mean, those are my peeps, man. So I'm just thrilled, and I'm, like kind of having a fangirl moment with Jeff here. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's do it.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna share my screen. So hold on one second.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So let me know. I got to start it here real quick. So bear with me just a second.
You're good.
You can see big old TikTok on your screen.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm going to dive in, and I'm going to go through this as relatively fast as I can because there's a lot of content to go through. But I always assume, and usually my assumption is right when it comes to TikTok, is that a lot of people don't have a lot of familiarity with it. So I'm gonna backtrack all the way to the beginning and tell you about the platform. So if you didn't know, TikTok currently has about 800 million monthly users worldwide. But I don't pay too much attention to worldwide. I pay more attention, obviously, to our country because that's all that matters to us in the real estate world. It's been around since 2018. Again, infancy. It's currently the 6th largest social network. There's 30 million active US users. Now this is all statistics from the first quarter. It's probably closer to 40 or 50 million now, and it will soon become the 5th, 4th, or 3rd largest social network. It is growing so fast. US users spend roughly 46 minutes per day. It's probably more like an hour now, if not more than that. One of my favorite statistics, which blows one of the objections out of the water, is that the biggest US age group is actually 18 to 24-year-olds at 42%, and that is trending up very, very quickly. One of the most popular hashtags on TikTok right now is moms of TikTok. Another popular hashtag is over 30, another one over 40. In other words, I promise you 13-year-olds aren't using those hashtags, which tells you that us, quote unquote, boomers, as my kids like to call me, we are quickly taking it over, just like we did with Facebook, just like we did with Instagram, and obviously Snapchat. We haven't really taken it over, but it has been copied by Zuckerberg like 6, 7, 8 times over, because again, what the youth are doing is what everybody else ends up doing, whether we like it or not. It's just the way that it goes. So that's a little background on the app itself. Here's some very high level, and I'm gonna go deeper on this, but really what TikTok was built around is short form mobile videos, 15 to 60 second content. You can't do longer than a minute. You can go as short as about 5 seconds. That is where TikTok has it figured out. Our attention spans as human beings nowadays is about the size of a gnat. And so knowing that when someone sees a TikTok, they know it's not going to take up 5 minutes of their life. They're more liable to watch it. And it's built around more entertaining content that a lot of us have now built it back into either our life or our business. One of the beauties of the platform is you can use licensed music. You can't do that on any other platform without paying for it. And so that is one of the awesome things about TikTok. It's got well over 2 million songs, and I'm talking popular songs, oldie songs, anything you want, and then some, it's on there. And you're allowed to use it, and you're allowed to post it back to other social platforms, because as long as that TikTok watermark is on there, the other platforms allow it to come through, which does not happen on Facebook or Instagram. If you've ever found out, if you ever use licensed music, you'll get muted. It's got incredible editing features. I'm gonna touch on that a little bit today, but it will be overwhelming, so I don't go too deep. But everything from time effects to split screens to green screen to transitions, you can use GIFs. Literally, I mean, it's endless. It's overwhelming. I've only touched a fraction of it, and I'm considered an expert. So if that tells you anything about the platform. Tons of filter options, especially for you ladies. I know how ladies used to love to use filters. There are tons of filters in TikTok, and I'm gonna touch on that as well. Hashtags are very important. It's critical on TikTok. It's important to understand what's trending on TikTok, which is very easy to do. And I'll touch on that a little bit as well. And then I just mentioned a few of the other features: duets, trends, cringe. That's what they call all this stuff. React videos. It's a lot of dancing, but it's not necessarily that. I've literally done one dancing video, and I've created 160 videos. So you don't have to. I mean, you do you. And so that's kind of the point of TikTok and the beauty of it. And again, it has evolved dramatically in the last 12 months. This is what a profile looks like. I'm going to go deeper on this here in a little bit. But basically, if you're on a page, if you have a page, this is what your page would look like. So this is roughly what mine looks like. And the only reason I show this to you is really to show you this, your caption, basically your bio. It's very limited characters here on TikTok, just like Instagram. It's very similar to Instagram in that regard, but it's very important because this is a quote unquote popularity platform. You want to make sure that you list yourself based on what you want to be. And so, you want to use words or use identifiers that make you look like a badass, essentially. And so in my case, I've done some things that kind of help that. But I've had a lot of people tell me, well, I don't know what to say. But for example, if you're a realtor, if you're an title rep, list that. So for me, I don't list mortgage just because I don't preach about mortgage anymore. I really teach realtors more than I do anything. And so I don't list it, but I would definitely list that as a part of who you are. And if you won any awards or you have any cool things about yourself, list that there. You're just limited on characters, and it's always ideal. This applies to Instagram as well. Always make sure you give them somewhere to go, whether it's a link to a website. In my case, I'm saying go follow me on IG because I know a lot of my TikTok audience is young. So I want to drive more followers to Instagram because I'm trying to grow that platform as well. So a couple more stats just to kind of reinforce what TikTok has done. In 2018, and these stats are just continuing to come out. There's nothing really new yet. I'm really excited to see the stats after the second quarter because it's going to be off the charts. But the monthly downloads just in 2018, which was its first year, surpassed Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat, which is pretty telling. Q1 apps worldwide this year. As you can see, TikTok was #1. So it's obviously making a dent. And here are its global downloads by quarter, as you can see, all the way until first quarter of 2020. And I can't wait to see second quarter of 2020 because it's going to be probably over 500 million. It's going berserk. So before I get into the granular pieces of TikTok, I first want to touch on objections here because I hear a lot of it. Now, that's really subsided a lot in the last few months because people, I think, are starting to embrace it. But because I know some of you are thinking it and a lot of you hear it, I'm just going to go ahead and touch directly on it. And these are the 3 biggest objections that I see that keep people from TikTok. And by the way, I have some really great real estate friends, peers, that have decided not to download TikTok for one of these reasons or another. I'm just going to call a spade because I did it to them as well. I tease them about it. And I say the reason they're not on TikTok is not because of any of these objections. That's just that's their convenient excuse for not wanting to embrace something new or learn something new. Because I do believe, and I've already had one of them who vehemently would argue with me about this, who's now embraced it. And of course, you better believe I give him hell. But #1 is it's owned by a Chinese-based company. That is one of the things, whenever that Age app was out last year, I know some of you probably remember that. A lot of people were like, oh my God, it's owned by the Russians. They're just trying to steal our data. Listen, it doesn't matter where the company's owned by. I mean, I don't necessarily, if you have an app, and I'm going to touch on this on #2, they're all collecting data. It doesn't matter where they're from. You're not putting a credit card into TikTok. You're not putting your social security number into TikTok. You're not putting anything that they can actually take in TikTok. So the fact that people use that as an excuse, I think, is just the convenient one because there's really nothing to steal. And one thing I will point out that is really big deal that just happened in the spring, TikTok hired one of the former CEOs, one of the former operators of Disney. Kevin Mayer. So he's an American, which I felt like was a huge play by TikTok to show us how serious they are about overcoming that objection. And that was a big deal. So they hired an American, I think he was from Disney Plus to be specific. He ran Disney Plus to run a big department on TikTok. So I think that's important to know. #2, and I mentioned this already, it's a spy app. It collects all your data, right? Well, so does every other app on your phone. And do you have any idea who those apps are owned by on your phone? And don't tell me you do because you don't. because we all have, most of us have at least 50 apps. Some of us like 200, like my wife, because she's like going to a department store applying for a credit card. She does the same thing with apps. And you have no idea who owned these apps. And the reality is every app is collecting your data. You have a better likelihood of having your identity or your information breached by shopping at Target. I hate to tell you this, because, and I can tell this from experience, twice now, I've had my credit card information stolen from shopping at Target. So if it makes you feel any better, these apps are actually pretty darn secure, and it's actually less secure to go shop at Target. And I use that because I'm usually speaking to a higher number of women, and I know you all like to shop at Target. And like I said, it's bit me in the ass a few times. I'll still continue to shop there, of course. But it's a good reason why the spy app objection is not a good one. And lastly, it's just a bunch of teenagers.
Just really quick, Jeff.
Yeah.
Really quick. So did TikTok start as Musical.ly?
Originally, it was Vine. Well, not exactly, but it's like an evolution of Vine, which Vine became Musical.ly, and now Musical.ly became TikTok. I do believe TikTok, the company, which is ByteDance, actually bought Musical.ly. It didn't take Musical.ly and make it TikTok, but I think it bought Musical.ly to eliminate them as competition, and then used some of its features, which are some of the music features. So Vine, if anybody remembers Vine, it was 6 or 7 second videos. And then that just died. It was basically, honestly, Vine was before its time. It wasn't ready yet. And then it became Musical.ly, which was a bunch of kids, and then ByteDance bought it to basically take it over. And so yes, it is kind of an evolution of those two, essentially. And then lastly, it's only teens. Again, I already mentioned that. And I will say this, I can't deny the fact that a good majority of the audience is under 24 years old. The data doesn't lie. However, what I do know is this app, just like Facebook, if you all remember, Facebook was a college app. And I know if I had asked many of us 10, 15 years ago, do you see yourself being all over Facebook, in it every single day? You would have laughed. You would have said, no, that's stupid. It's a college app. And that's exactly what everyone is doing with TikTok now. And so just remember that. But I will point out, and I'm going to show you some data, I use TikTok because of its amazing video features, its editing features. I actually use it to create content because, again, I'm a big fan of having social brand. It's done wonders for my business. And so what I do is I use it for that platform. Now I've grown 20,000 plus followers on TikTok, which is cool. But honestly, I create a lot of my TikToks to post them back to Instagram and Facebook because they perform incredibly well. And that leads me to this. So I just took this actually today. So this is Instagram performance, because Instagram is probably my most important app right now. In my opinion, Facebook is still there, but it's the dying breed. And Instagram is going to take over what Facebook has been. So if you're not on Instagram, you should be. But I just want to show you that this is my analytics in Instagram. So I show you here a 30-day window, a 3-month window, and a 6-month window. I don't go back a year because I've really only been creating TikToks since about November of last year, really heavily. And so this is the relevant data. So a year from now, I have a feeling TikToks are going to take over my highest performing. But so you can see here, in the last 30 days, 5 out of my top 5 performing posts on Instagram are all TikToks, ironically, and 6 out of my top 10 are all TikToks. In the last 3 months, it's staggering. 5 out of the top 5, 9 out of my top 10, and 11 of my top 15 are all TikToks. And then, of course, for the last 6 months, which is stretching out a little bit further, 3 out of my top 5, 8 out of my top 15. And the reason why I point this out is because, again, the whole point of the reason why I'm talking to you guys today is obviously to learn TikTok, right? But the reason why you want to learn TikTok is because you want to use it in your business. You want to grow your brand. And the whole point of growing your brand on social media is to gain more eyeballs, is to gain more followers, is to create more opportunities. And that's exactly what TikTok is doing for me on Instagram. I've got my Instagram account up to over 11,000 followers. And as you can see, I'm getting a hell of a lot of reach because I believe that when people see the TikTok watermark, it attracts them to my posts because they know that it's likely going to, it's not, A, it's going to be short, and B, it's likely going to be somewhat entertaining. And that's why they go to it. So I just wanted to point that out because I think it's very important and also kind of debunks the point about TikTok being all about teens. That's okay. Use TikTok because it's the best video editing platform on the planet to where you can create some amazing things and then use that to post back to your other social platforms. So one thing I do like to point out, and this applies to all social media, is understanding, I get this question a lot, especially on TikTok, but I get it on all the platforms, is what do I post about? Like, what do I create content about? I struggle with that. And I hear this on Facebook, I hear it on Instagram, I hear it on YouTube. And naturally, a lot of professionals, sales professionals, not just real estate, their inclination is to say, well, if I'm doing this for business, I need to create business content. And that is like mistake number 1A of social media content. Do not create mostly business content because you will not get eyeballs. You will end up being suppressed. You will not get seen. And I do a whole nother presentation, Kelsey, on just social media in general. And I speak about this and I talk about what type of content to be putting out. So for this, since I'm very specific to TikTok, I'm just gonna define my pillars. And what I challenge you all to do when it comes to your social media content in general, but including TikTok, is define your pillars. And I'm gonna give you some examples. So for me, I'm a ton of authentic content, probably 80%. So it's lifestyle content. It's my family. It's the Lake of the Ozarks. It's travel. It's my hobbies and interests. It's stories. It's sharing my family. I have more people across the country, Kelsey's probably one of them, who probably knows who Winter is, who's my 18-month-old daughter. She probably knows who Sarah is, who's my wife. She probably knows who my teenage daughters are. Why? Because I create a ton of content that includes them, but it attracts more eyeballs to my brand because people they get to know me without actually knowing me. And that's how you win at social media. So most of my content is lifestyle. Now, obviously, one of my pillars is business. And so obviously when it comes to business content, obviously it's for me, it's real estate and it's mortgage. And so it's just relevant content around those two pieces, of course. Then for me, it's video and social media. So I create a ton of content. I have ownership in a platform called the Business Video School, where we actually teach real estate, well, any business really, but we've been focusing on real estate. We teach video. Literally from the very basics all the way to super advanced and everything from creating video to editing video to everything. So I create a lot of content on video and social media. It's tips basically. And so I do that on TikTok as well. I'm big into fitness. I'm big into diet. My wife and I we live a partial vegan lifestyle. We're not vegan, but we eat probably, my wife's probably like 90%. I'm probably about 65 or 70% vegan. And so I post a lot about it because a lot of people are interested in that. So it's one of my pillars of content because I'm passionate about it. And it's easy for me to create content around it because I have a passion about it. I do a ton of fitness. I set big goals every year and people follow me as a result of it. And so I enjoy doing that. And then lastly, one of my pillars of content that you could probably tie into business, but it's specific to leadership and entrepreneurship. I've been in a leadership role for almost 20 years. And so I just have a lot of experience. And so I share content around that. And just to give you an example, so I actually went through my 158 TikToks and counted roughly how many of each I have. And so as you can see, I practice what I preach. I counted 101 lifestyle TikToks. I had roughly 30 business TikToks, and that includes the leadership and entrepreneurship piece. I had roughly 14 around video and social media, which also, this was a good exercise for me because it reminded me that I need to create more of this stuff, and 13 fitness and diet, which I do a lot of it on Facebook and Instagram, but not as much on TikTok. So I need to actually step up my game there. But it also kind of validates what I just said. And that is creating authentic content is my jam. I'm always just turning on my camera for when I'm with my family, because you just never know when you're going to grab something that's going to be cool. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video for you, which is kind of leads us into going into a little bit deeper look into TikTok. And this is a video that we created. So we create content both about video and social media for the Business Video School. And this was my advice to anybody who hasn't really gotten into TikTok yet and what you should do and how you should embrace it. So I'm going to play this video and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper. TikTok. keep hearing about TikTok and how you should get on it and how you should learn it, and you've downloaded the app and you've gotten sucked in, but you have no idea what to do from there. Well, let me give you some tips on how you should familiarize yourself with the platform before you start creating content. Check this out. So first things first, when you get into the TikTok app, it immediately opens up videos. So I can immediately start scrolling to what's going on my feed. But you'll notice at the top, there's a For You and there's a Following. So the For You is what the algorithm in TikTok thinks that I want to see based on what I engage with. And the Following is, of course, the people that I've actually followed, and it's showing their content. So as you're learning how to use the app, what I suggest that you do is you absorb, you watch content, you consume it, you learn what's going on, you see what's out there, make sure that you're specific as to what you want to follow. If you engage and watch a bunch of 15-year-old girls dancing around, the For You page is going to continue to show you a bunch of 15-year-old girls dancing around because it thinks that's what you want, right? So you need to tell the algorithm what you want, and you can search for stuff by using this Discover button down here at the bottom. You can go up here and type in real estate, or you can type in a certain person. You can see some of the things I've searched. That you can use that feature. Also, let's just say you're on this page, I'm on this Following, and I like the sound of this particular video, or I like the style of it. You can save this for future use when you're ready to create your own content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on at the bottom right here where you see the record turning in circles. I'm going to hit that, which is going to pop up what the original sound was. So that way you notice that a lot of TikToks are recordings and people are just mouthing what the TikTok is. Well, I can click add to favorites and it's going to put it in my favorites, and I'll show you where you can go to find that. You can also click to like the videos. So let's just say here, I want to like this video. I'm going to click right here. So what I did was I clicked the little arrow here, which is like the comment button, and I am going to click add to favorites. So you see right here, add to favorites, and it's going to put it in my favorites. Now from there, I'm going to go to me down here at the bottom right, and I'm going to click on this little ribbon here, which is going to pull open my saved videos. You can see the one that I just saved now is the first one there. I have a bunch of saved videos that I want to go back to and either copy or just use to create my own content. And you can see it can be hashtags that I've saved. I don't have any favorites there. Sounds, so as you can see, that top one, that same sound that I saved, now I can go use that. So in this case, if I click the sound and I click check, it's going to go into now where I can create my own TikTok. You can see me now, and it automatically put that sound. See at the top of the screen there? It's scrolling saying original sound. And that is something that you can be doing here to save also with effects. You can save effects. So that way you can revert back later once you learn how to use this stuff, once you get to the point where you feel comfortable creating your own TikToks. Now you've got a bunch of saved content that you can go back to, revert to, and create stuff once you learn how to use this platform, which we will give more tutorials coming very soon. Hope this helped. Go consume TikTok content, save stuff that you want to use to create your own stuff, and get familiar with the platform. Okay, so now we're going to dive a little bit deeper. And so that's just a really 30,000 foot, very basic tutorial, but that is what I highly recommend to everyone. And I will say this before we get a little bit deeper, is that TikTok is by far and away the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. In other words, luckily I've learned how not to let it become that way, but I will say this to anyone, is that you cannot let social media be a rabbit hole unless you've got time. Most of us don't. So you have to use it intentionally. In other words, you have to go in there. I'll go in there to search for things so I can find ideas for TikToks I want to create. I save them and then I go back to them later. Or in a lot of cases, since I'm creating lifestyle content, I will create TikToks, I'll draft it and save it for later, and I'll finish it off later, which I'm going to show you how to do. So next, we're going to go through what some of these buttons are, what some of these basic buttons are within the TikTok app. And so I showed you what happens when you open the app. You open the app. That's, by the way, that's why TikTok is so brilliant, is because when you open, the second you open the app, it's immediately playing content for you. In other words, it sucks you right in there for the rabbit hole, right? And so it's powerful. It's really, really powerful, which is why having a status on there, having your brand be known on TikTok is important, because as it becomes more and more popular, especially with the older generations, you know, it's going to be very important for your brand to be somebody who's identified with that next level thing, because you will gain clients from this. You will find, and I want to share with you a bunch of examples of realtors and mortgage professionals that I know that are starting to build their business kind of like YouTubers through TikTok. And so that's one of the reasons why we love it so much. And I will say this, I'll digress for just 1 second. When I was arguing and being called an idiot by so many people for a long time about TikTok, when I was saying, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, one of the things I would always tell people when it comes to TikTok is if the worst thing that happens, and let's just say I'm wrong, my prediction is wrong, TikTok never takes off in business, which now it since has. The worst thing that's happened is I'm creating content for my family, with my family, and around my family. And so if nothing else, it's something that brings me closer to my teenage daughters, which is, anybody who has teenage daughters knows how hard that is to do, because they just completely want to separate from you at that point in their life. It brought me closer to them. And so, you know, if nothing else, it's creating memories, and that's not a bad consolation prize for being in TikTok. And I will tell you, my wife and I will be sitting on the couch or laying in bed, and I'll be watching TikToks. We laugh so hard together at some of the stuff that's on TikTok because it is insanely entertaining. But like I said in that video, make sure that you're intentional about what you watch. So again, when you first get into the app, TikTok is guessing what you want to see, and it's guessing what you want to see based on what you engage with, either what you watch, what stays on your screen the longest, etc. So it's important to go follow what you want to follow, typically industry specific and specific people. And then it's important for you to intentionally engage with what you want to follow. So for me, I'm a golfer, so I will intentionally watch golf videos because I'm telling the algorithm, show me more of this stuff. And so again, be intentional with your social media. So with that said, let's dive in. So I'm gonna show you a couple examples here. So this first image on the left here is one of my OGs on TikTok, one of my social media savants who I do a lot with. He's a stud. They know how to trick and beat these systems. They actually own a company that helps people grow their social media accounts. I'm one of their OGs. And so we do a lot together. So I showed them. So this is Sharon Srivatsa. And so when you're on TikTok and you're on this particular page, you're watching somebody's video. So first things first is that little image there, which if you hit it, it's going to take you to that individual's main page. Now you can go see how many followers they have. You can go see how many people they're following, how many videos they've created. You can see their bio, and you can see all of the videos that particular individual has created. So that's how you can go stalk someone, essentially. The next button is the little heart. That's how you like a video. Very simple, nothing more to it. The next one is the comment button. Again, same thing. It's the same application as like a Facebook or an Instagram. If you like something and you want to comment on it, if you want to give somebody engagement, that's where you would do it. It's important, especially for your friends and the people that maybe you're following, or the people that you look up to in social media, or people that you want to support. This is how you do it. You comment, you like first, then you comment. In other words, you engage their content. This also applies to Facebook and Instagram. That's what the algorithm is looking for. The algorithm is looking for the more engagement means the more people like your stuff, which means they're going to show it to more people. Next is the share button. The share button actually has got multiple features. When you click on that, you can share it, you can save it, you can duet it, you can add it to your favorites. There's several options. You can share it back to other social platforms. You can save it to your phone. There's a bunch of different options you can do here with this particular button. So it's an important one. It's also very important to help your friends and colleagues and whoever you want to help with engagement. This little guy down here is the sound. You heard me say it in the video. It's a little record that's spinning. And so that is the actual sound button. And as you saw when I showed it in the video, if you click it, it gives you the opportunity to save it. So you can add that sound to your favorites. So now you can go back and use it later. And I recommend people understanding that, because there are many times when I'm watching TikToks, I don't save it. And then when I try to go find the sound later, I can never find it. So it's important to understand that. Next is the picture on the right here. So this is Dean Aguilar. Dean actually is in real estate, really was in real estate, because now he focuses his time on his company called Digital Muse, which helps their clients grow Instagram following and now TikTok. So they've become really big into this. They know the hacks. They both have hundreds of thousands of followers because, frankly, they know the hacks. I know too much because I'm good friends with these guys, but they're great guys to learn from. And Dean is probably the OG in that regard. So this particular page here, as you can see, it's a little bit different than the previous photo or previous image, in that it's got these icons at the bottom. And so this particular icon right here is basically would take you back to the home page, AKA refresh your screen. So it takes you back to the top. And remember what I said in the video, up at the top here is the following and the for you. I already mentioned it, so I don't spend any time here, but I'll mention it real quick for you guys. Following is who you're following. So whoever you're following, that's what videos are going to show there. For you is what TikTok thinks you want to watch. So it's going to show you what it thinks you want to see based on what you engage with. So it's two different pages essentially, and you can just click following or click for you to watch whatever content you want to watch. Next is the discover button, which is just a search feature. So whether you want to search for a person, you want to search for a hashtag, you want to search for a trending video, you want to search for a sound, you can do all of that through the discover button. There's tons of stuff there. And on that page, when you click this, it tells you what's trending. So it's important that to create content, if you are trying to create viral content, to pay attention to what's trending here, because that's greater likelihood of a video catching fire. The little plus button is where you would create a TikTok. So when you click that, it's going to immediately take you to the camera feature, and then you can start creating a TikTok, which I'm going to go into next. This is your inbox. This is your notifications. It's important to pay attention to this because one, obviously this is what's going to show you if you have any new followers. It's also going to tell you if you have any comments. And I say that because, and I preach this on all social media, the curse of social media engagement is not engaging your comments. Like, it's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. So on any of your social platforms, if you're going to be spending time, if you're interested in actually growing your following and growing your business with social media, always engage your followers. Always engage when they engage you. Comment back. If you want to overachieve, comment with a question to get them comment again. Always like their comment. Always engage your audience, even the haters. Even the haters. Don't get into verbal spars with them. Rather, respond with kindness. That usually shuts them up. And then lastly is the me button here in the bottom right. This is just going to take you to your back end page where I showed you mine on that one of those earlier slides. That's what it looks like. And that's the button that will do that. So next, so now let's assume you hit the little plus button, and now it's going to take you to where you can create a video. So I'm going to focus on this first slide first, and I'm just going to go through all of these buttons. So all of you kind of have an understanding of what each one of them does. We don't have the time to go into it. It would take hours and hours and hours all day to go through this. That's why, again, I'm going to repeat this a lot. Just get in and absorb the content, consume it, play around with it. That's how you learn how to do anything, basically. That's how you learn how to ride a bike. That's how you learn to hit a baseball. That's how you learn to crochet. That's how you learn to do everything. Practice. And TikTok's no different. So first is the flip button. Literally just flips the camera on you or outside. So it's just which camera you're using. As you can see in this case, it was on me. If I hit flip, it would be on whatever the camera's facing. This is the speed. I'll show you a little bit more about that, but when you hit the speed button, it opens up this guy right here, which is already opened. I'll get into that in a second. So you can go slow-mo or you can speed up. It kind of makes for some interesting, you can make some really cool content by playing around with speed. The beauty button, I personally never use this, but literally it's an on-off button. And literally when you hit it, I swear it just makes you look a little bit younger. So it's kind of important, I guess, for you ladies, if you're interested in looking a little bit younger, just click that button when you have the camera on yourself and notice how it almost like takes your wrinkles away a little bit. So it's a kind of a cool little feature. Filters are filters. I'm going to show you what this button looks like on a next slide. Filters, obviously, you know what filters are. And then timer. Your timer is really important because this is a feature which I'm also going to show you a little bit what it looks like on the next slide, is to where when you're shooting your own content, And let's just say you want to set up your camera, walk away and set up for whatever it is you're doing. This has a 3 and a 10-second feature to where you can click start, and then the video won't start for either 3 or 10 seconds, whatever you choose. So it gives you time to kind of compose yourself and get prepared. This is the speed bar. So again, when you hit the adjust speed, it's going to pull up this bar, which will allow you to either shoot it in real time, do 2x or 3x speed, or go half or a third of the speed. So if you want to go into slow-mo, it's kind of a fun little feature, like I said. This button here is an effects button. This has got tons of stuff. I've barely touched the tip of the iceberg on effects. You can do green screen. You can do, freeze frame. I mean, there's literally, it's fun to stay up on this kind of stuff because like they had a Father's Day filter. They have so many things that you can use. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't use it as often, but I know a lot of people that do, and they do really well with creating content around it. And there's so many features. You just have to play around with them in order to learn them. This button right here is where you would upload. So you can actually create a video in your, let's just say you created it in Instagram or you created it on your phone, just in your video on your phone. And you said, oh man, that would have made a really good TikTok. Well, this is where you would upload it. One of my highest performing TikToks, my wife actually, was a video that she took. She was a video on Instagram and it just was epic. And it turned out to be really good. I knew it would perform well. It was just a funny video of me and my stepson. And so she just downloaded it to her phone, shared it to me, and then I uploaded it to TikTok and made a TikTok out of it. And so that's how you can do that. You can also upload still photos. There's a lot of different things you can do with TikTok videos. You can actually make a quote unquote video with just still images, just like you could in iMovie or something like that. And then this right here is where you would choose what length of video. So again, it's 15 and 60 seconds. You can go less, but if you ever have a video that's gonna probably be 30 seconds, let's just say, you know it's gonna be more than 15 seconds, always choose the 60-second option because the worst case scenario that happens is even if it's less than 15 seconds, who cares? You gave yourself more time. There's nothing more frustrating when you use a 15-second choice and you have like a 5 or 6 layered video, and then all of a sudden you realize you need more time because then you'd have to reshoot the whole thing. And so I always just recommend, usually if you know it's gonna be 60 seconds, or if it's gonna be more than 15 seconds, just choose the 60-second option. I don't talk about templates in live here, but templates you can just go play with and you can see what it is. It literally gives you a template for a video and you can use still images and whatnot. And then live is just going live on Instagram. You have to have 1,000 followers to have that feature, to be able to go live on Instagram. I actually don't use it because I know that most of my followers on Instagram are a bunch of kids. And so it's goofy. It's different than Facebook and Instagram in the sense that when I do a live on Facebook and Instagram, which I do a lot, I know that my video is still there. In other words, people can watch it later. That's not the case on TikTok. You're live when you're live and that's it. And then it's gone when you're not live anymore. And so I just haven't played around with it yet. I probably will at some point. I just haven't yet. And then up at the top of the screen here, you'll notice I just added an image here where you can see these blue, the light blue, right? And you can see the little white marks because I created a video with different pieces to it. I videoed here and then I stopped it and then video there, stopped it, video there, stopped it. I was just showing you an example, basically. That's what it'll look like when you create that video. And so basically that is your status bar of where you are on your TikTok length. So this was a 15-second video. So as you can see, I filled the whole thing up. But if you stopped earlier, whatever, that's how you follow along. That's your status bar. And then I added another picture right here at the bottom here. This little check mark is if you didn't create the full 15 seconds, that's where that check mark would show up. And that's you basically saying, I want to go to the next screen, which is the screen on the right here. So it's just taking you to the next screen saying, I'm done with my video. Now I want to go edit it. So that'll take you to this screen. Remember, this is all recorded. Don't be overwhelmed. You can go back and watch this and kind of fast forward to where you want to go. This page will take you to some additional features. So the first feature is filters at the top. It's the same filters that was on the previous, so I don't even mention it. But this one is adjust clips. So you have two options. You can either try to shoot the perfect video when you shoot it, which admittedly, I try to do that more often than not. However, you do have the option to edit your clips. So let's just say you created a 5 or 6 piece video, which I do a lot of. I create videos that piece together rather than just one consecutive 15-second video. And if I wanted to adjust a clip, like I pushed play, walked away, came back, pushed end, then I could go back and adjust that clip. And this is how you would do that here. So it's a cool feature. It's an editing feature. If you're familiar with iMovie or anything more advanced than that, you'll know how to use this. If you're not familiar with editing videos at all, it may be a little bit more foreign to you, but it's very easy to use. This is voice effects. And so if you created a video and you wanted to make yourself sound like a chipmunk, or you wanted to make yourself sound like a super deep voice, or there's probably like 10 or more options on voice effects. You can play around. You can play around with changing your voice. Again, sometimes the right videos just allow for it. Personally, I don't use it very often or ever. I frankly just forget about it, but it's there and it's kind of cool. Voice over is also very cool. So if you wanted to create a video where you shoot the video and then you want to explain what's happening in the video and you didn't do it while you were shooting the video, you can do a voiceover. This is a freaking amazing feature. I mean, I'm telling you folks, if you have any editing experience whatsoever, and if you don't, you'll trust me when I say this, using the TikTok app, like if I created a video with my phone or with a camera and then downloaded it to an editing platform to edit, it would take me about 5 times the amount of time to create what you can create within this app. It's so amazing. It's silly. And if you don't understand that or know that, you just have to trust me on that. And the voiceover feature is one of them. It's absolutely mind-blowing how easy it is to use. Then down here at the bottom, you see you have sounds. So that's where you would add music. So at this point, you would click add music. Now, in some cases, you might build a video around the music, in which case the music is already in there. And that's possible. That's just if you grabbed it from your favorite. But this is the sound. That's what you click to go add music, and you can search for anything. This is another effects button. This is more effects. And I'm going to show you what that looks like on the next slide. You can add text. As most of you have probably seen, you can add text on your videos. What I love about TikTok is you can set the duration for the text. So in other words, you can have, and I'm sure you've all seen this, where someone will have like text will pop and then pop again and then pop again and then pop again. And it's really eye-catching. Again, just super advanced editing features, super easy to use. And you do that here. So you can add the text, you can use different fonts, you can do different colors, and you can set the durations. You can add emojis and all kinds of stuff. It's really awesome. And then lastly is stickers. So think stories here, think Instagram stories or Facebook stories. When you click on this sticker button, you can add stickers, GIFs, polls, anything you can possibly think of. It's almost identical to the GIF button on your Instagram or your Facebook stories. So if you're familiar with that, you'll know exactly what this is. And you can add this to your videos as well. And then of course, the next button just takes you to the next page. So we started with the page where we shoot. Then it takes you to this page where you can do some editing. Then it takes you to this page where you would write captions. So in this particular case, I'm just going to show you a couple things here. So right here, it says describe your video. You have limited text, so you have to make these very short. And then you always want to use hashtags. Usually anywhere from 1 to 5 is what I recommend. You'll hear different experts say different numbers. And usually it's like experts who have millions of followers who say, don't over hashtag. Well, yeah, it's easy for them to say because they get hundreds of thousands of views on every video because they're famous. So if you're wanting to get more eyeballs and you're wanting to get seen more often, use the hashtag feature, but make it relevant. A lot of people will try to jump on trends by using trending hashtags, even though it has no relevance to the video. Personally, I just hashtag what's relevant to the video. So if it's a video at the Lake of the Ozarks, I hashtag Lake of the Ozarks. I hashtag lake. I might hashtag boat. I might hashtag whatever, right? I hashtag relevant stuff. I might hashtag the song. I might hashtag the artist, those kind of things. Hashtag relevant stuff. I usually do about 4 to 5 on every video. And then I'll tag friends only if they're like in the video. So you only tag relevant people. Tagging is less of a big deal on TikTok than it is on Instagram or Facebook. And then below here, who can see this video? So for the most part, I keep all mine public. But in this case, if you wanted to create something and you're not ready for the world to see it yet, you can place it as private if you want. I don't really know what the point of being on TikTok or any social media platform is if you're going to be private, but that's where you can do that. And then you can allow comments, which I don't know why you would turn that off. You can allow duet, which again, that's engagement. So if anybody ever wanted to duet your videos, and if you go into TikTok, you'll see duets. They're very popular. I don't know why you would turn that off, because if somebody duets you, that's actually good for that's really good for your video because it gets you more engagement. I've never been duetted. I've duetted other people. I've never been duetted. And then save to a device. I automatically have this checked. In other words, every time I create a TikTok, it automatically saves it in my camera roll. The reason I do that is because I post organically back to Facebook and Instagram and the other platforms. So instead of sharing you can do one of two things. You can do what I do, which is save it to your device, or you can share it directly to Facebook and Instagram from TikTok. The reason I don't do that is because then it's a link that they have to click in Facebook to take them back to TikTok. Well, if you know anything about social media, you'll know that all the platforms don't like links because they don't like sending their audience outside of their platform. So I'm a big organic poster. That's why I save to my device and I post it organically to the other platforms. And then I put a caption with it, but it still has the TikTok watermark and whatnot. So everybody knows what they're getting, right? And then here at the bottom, obviously there's two choices, post or draft. So again, a lot of times I'll create videos like on the fly, literally driving my boat. And I'm like, oh, that'll be cool. That'll be cool content. I'll just video it real quick and then I'll draft it, which means I'm saving it for later. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to add a caption. I'm going to add music. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to add text. It's really cool. Most TikTokers know they always have like anywhere from 5 to 30 drafts at one time because you're always in content creation mode. And so you're always creating TikToks, but you don't have the time to sit there and edit them. And so you just create it real quick, you draft it, you go back to it later. Again, another amazing feature of TikTok. So here's an example of a caption. So in this case, this is a video that's actually in my drafts right now. I posted over the weekend, or that I created over the weekend, but I haven't posted yet. And literally it's a post basically educating my audience about how big the Lake of the Ozarks is, because most people don't know how vast and massive that it is. And so it's going to have some cool text in it, but this is an example of what a caption looks like. As you can see, my description is short. It's actually long for a description, but I tell my audience what they're about ready to expect. And then I hashtagged Lake of the Ozarks, Ozark, vacation, and travel, because it's kind of relevant to what my post is about. So that kind of gives you an idea. Really short, really sweet, really simple. That's what it is on TikTok. So then I want to show you some images of some of the things I talked about on the previous page. So this right here is an example of what it looks like when you click on, let me go back and show you here. So this is when you're on this first image here and you click this effects button right here in the bottom left, this little guy winking. This is what that looks like. So I'm going to take you here now. So when you click that effects button, this is what it gives you. So it's this first one here. Let me go to previous slide. I went too far. Okay, so this right here is effects. If you open this in your TikTok, first of all, you'll see there's different options at the top, trending, new, interactive, and it goes on and on and on to the right. Then if you scroll down, there's just like more options you'll ever be able to play with or ever be able to create. But it's a great thing to use to play around with. Like for example, this bling one right here automatically puts little shining lights on your eyes and various features in your video. It does it for you. This right here is a green screen. So you can choose the image behind you. Like if you have a new listing, you can take an image from your phone, like of the listing or of the house, and you're standing in front of that image. It's just a built-in green screen. Absolutely amazing technology. And there's so many other filters. I mean, you can distort your face. It can change the color of your eyes. You can do these quizzes. This was a Father's Day quiz. BET Awards. I don't even know what the hell that is. I don't actually play around with these too often, but they are super popular and super fun to create. And so just getting in and playing around with those effects is a task in and of itself. Now this, on the second page, you remember there was a second effects button, and I said more effects. This is the more effects. So this allows you to do visual effects. So in this case, some filters. You can actually do effects, like it can be a split screen. It can be 9 different screens. It can be all kinds of stuff. There's transitions, there's splits. You can shoot videos in reverse. If anybody follows me, you know I've shot a couple of reverse videos where I was jumping into the water and it looks really cool, like I'm coming from out of the water to land. This is where you would do that. And then this right here is what filters looks like. So there's literally probably 100 different filters. So again, I don't mean to be sexist here, but I know just because of my wife, I know she plays around with filters a lot. Instagram is huge on filters. There's a million filters. I personally don't play with them just because I don't care. But if you're into filters, oh man, you can make yourself look any way you want. And then lastly, I mentioned that I would talk about the time. This is what that looks like. So when you hit the time, it pulls this little screen up at the bottom, and you can see there's a 3-second and a 10-second option. This is where you can adjust. So as you can see here, it's a 15-second frame. you can slide this red button over and say, okay, I'm gonna shoot a 5-second clip here, and then it's gonna stop. And so you can set the time to be 3 or 10 seconds, which gives you time to get into place. And then it's only gonna shoot a 5-second clip, then you can go shoot the next clip. I realize that a lot of this is very advanced, and a lot of you are probably glossing over at this point, which is why I don't go any deeper, because this is deep. But I can tell you this, like I said earlier, this is no different than anything else. You get better at it when you play around with it. That's why I'm such a huge proponent of just embracing and absorbing this platform, because there's so much to it. There's a lot to learn, and you will continually be learning. I'm considered a quote unquote expert. And I say that because I'm not an expert. I'm just more advanced than everybody else. So people just call me that. And I still have barely touched this platform. It's crazy. And so I'm running short on time. I want to go to this next slide real quick to give you guys an example or some ideas on who to follow. I know this is a real estate group. So these are some of the people that I have become really good friends with. I've gotten to know, and I love to follow myself, and you should of course follow them. You better believe I'm going to start with myself because that's the whole name of the game, right? And honestly, I create a lot of content just as examples because I teach this to so many real estate groups across the country. That's what my social media platforms are for. So of course there's me. I mentioned Dean Aguilar. He owns the platform Digital Muse. This guy knows what the hell he's doing. He puts out a lot of inspirational content and a lot of humorous content. So he's fun to follow. Sharon, if you guys don't know Sharon Srivatsa, he's like one of my heroes in real estate. Again, he's not just real estate anymore, but he's a partner with Dean and Digital Muse. He's also puts out a lot of content. Lana Rodriguez, she got into the platform at the beginning of the year, and she's grown organically, and she's crushing it. She's created more videos than I have, and she's been on it half the amount of time as I have. She puts out really good content, a lot of lifestyle content, but she also puts out some real estate content. Tanner Ritchie is what I would consider one of the OGs he's one of the OG realtors on TikTok. As you can see, he's got a ton of followers. He's a great dancer, so he's really fun to follow. This one she's called Silly Realtor, Amy Michelle Melendez. We like her. I don't even know her. I just know because I've seen her content. She does a lot of great stuff. She's got like 380 videos on TikTok, so she clearly takes it very seriously. She's organically grown. She's down in Palm Beach County, Florida. There's two mortgage guys that I highly recommend. There's that mortgage guy, and then Nate Fain, whose Mortgages Are Boring. Both of these guys have grown organically, and both of them create a lot of content around business, and they make it interesting and entertaining. They're really fun to watch. Even if you're not in mortgage, you'll get a ton of ideas from them because of what they create. These guys are killing it. Nate's only been on TikTok since February, and he's got 190,000 followers. That's the virality of this platform. Cece Underwood's also crushing it. She's in Jacksonville. Not quite as many followers because she's newer to the platform, but she creates a lot of really good real estate content. And then Christopher Clow, he's another one who's all organic. He's a realtor in South Carolina. I like him. I like to share him because he's creating different types of content than all of these other people on here. So again, you're going to gravitate the people that entertain you, that you like the most. And these are the people that I recommend. Again, remember, this is being recorded. You can snip a picture of this or just go back and watch it later. But at this point, Kelsey, I will stop because I know we're at time.
Consider my mind completely blown, and I watched you with Tristan Armada earlier, and that's the whole reason that we wanted to have you on here with our Women's Council of Snohomish County. But holy crapinoli, I mean, I've been TikToking, like following people and looking up stuff since you've been speaking, and it was so incredibly good. We have a couple of questions though. Okay, yeah. So let's go back up. Janelle, so much to learn. Yes, agreed. Crazy. Okay, so for myself, I said, can you do TikTok videos, upload them from your phone?
Yeah.
And then, or do you have to make them in the TikTok app itself?
No, you can. I've done that. So I've got videos that I've just, well, not accidentally, but I was recording because I was recording like a family moment, right? And I was just in my phone, and it just worked. It worked out. Or I've taken other videos, edited them down to 15 seconds or less than 60 seconds, and then put them into TikTok and made them TikTok. So you can do that. The only advantage to doing them in TikTok is it's a really awesome, amazing platform. And so it's easy to create content within it.
Yeah. Okay. So my other question, is, are there any specific amount of words like you need to use on Facebook in order to increase your algorithm? Like we're so used to Facebook and Instagram and all of that kind of stuff. Is there anything that you want to share on that?
So what I mentioned was, so in your captions, again, make it very specific, right? So so get it in the shortest amount of words, like 2 to 5 or 6 words. Make sure your audience knows what they're about ready to see. And then the hashtags is really the most important thing. So that's the thing. Good.
Cool. And then Jeff, actually, it's Sky. She's far better looking than Jeff. She says, does the hashtag for you or FYP actually work?
I don't know. I've used it. I've used it many times. Can I say that it works? Like my best videos got 46,000 views and I didn't use it. I don't use it anymore. You'll see, okay. I think it was hot in the beginning, but I think anymore, like the algorithms smarten up. They get smart. They realize, like, I'll just give you an example. If you're in Facebook and you tag 100 people, you think that you're going to get more reach by doing that. Well, Facebook's algorithm has gotten wise to that. They know that that's just people trying to juke the system and it doesn't work anymore. Same thing, I think, with For You page. I don't think it works. It's really literally just a matter of, does your audience grab it? And I'll real quickly tell you how that works. The way TikTok works is that it takes your video and it shows it to a group of 500 people. If it's insanely popular with that group of 500 people, it then takes it out to an audience of 1,000. If it's really popular with that, if it continues that trend, it then takes it to a group of 10,000 and so on. That's how it goes viral. So each video you create is going to a grouping of people. And then if those people really suck into it and watch it and it gets really good response, good engagement, then it continues to grow. It's getting harder to do it. But again, the ability to go viral on this platform is better than any other one, hands down.
Okay. And then from Heather, we have, I have music not on the TikTok library. Can I upload it and use it, or does it need to be approved?
I've never even attempted to. So I don't think so. I don't think you can upload your own music, but literally if you have a song, like a popular song, it's probably already on there. There's very little that I haven't been able to find.
Are there specific hot times to post?
So it has an analytic feature, just like Instagram. So you can follow where your followers are watching. I'll be honest with you, I don't believe in that on any of the platforms. I know it exists, but here's my thought process on that as a social media executor. If I get too caught up in the time, I will end up talking myself out of doing something. So I'm a believer in consistency is key and posting every single day. And if I get too caught up in the time of the day and a closing goes awry or whatever, I got issues with my kids, anything, it'll prohibit you from posting. So my opinion is when you got it, post it. Just do it. Make it a habit.
And then Jamie says she has to jump off for an appointment, but she really appreciates the class. So that was awesome. I do have one other. So I have a video of my kid. He's like playing his air guitar to Johnny Cash, and Johnny Cash, or is that going to cause an issue because I'm not using music from TikTok?
No, not at all. I do some videos with the organic sound, but you'll also find that you might be able to take that video. You can turn down the original volume and then just have music. You can go find the same Johnny Cash song and do that too. It's another thing you could do.
Okay. Very cool. Oh my gosh. I'm like so mind blown. This is awesome.
It's over. I will tell you.
I'm so honored to have you.
Thank you.
It is so overwhelming. But you know what? If we can figure out Facebook and if we can figure out Instagram, we can figure out the TikTok, and you don't stop, right?
That's right. That's right.
So I don't want to take up any more of your time. You are seriously like the TikTok god, and I really appreciate you coming on today and forming a friendship. And by the way, I do love looking at your daughter. She's darling. I didn't know she was 18 months, but she is so stinking cute. So
yeah, thank you.
I am going to continue to follow you everywhere, and I encourage everybody else to do the same. In the notes, do you want to type in where everybody can find you on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok?
It's my name. So here, I'll tell you what, I'll jump to that slide. Actually, it'll take too long to get to that slide, I think. It's just my name. So it's Jeff. I'll just type it in here. Oops, my caps. So there, it's just my name on all the platforms, which by the way is another thing. Try to keep consistent all across all your platforms. Try to keep a similar name and ideally your name, so you're easy to find. That's another social media tip, but yep. I'm easy to find. I'm easy to find.
Thank you so much. You are incredible, and we truly appreciate you have like just taking the time. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Happy to. And I will upload the recording to YouTube. And once that's done, I'll share a link and you can share it out.
Cool. We appreciate you. Have an awesome day. And sorry we didn't have more people, but I'm dead serious. Like if the sun comes out, people are out doing stuff. And we've been cooped up in our houses for like 4 months now. So we really appreciate it. And we are going to post that vid and send it out to our members. So
awesome.
Cool.
Glad to help.
Thank you.
All righty.
Have a great day.
All right. You too.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.